Welcome, guys, to the SBN Network podcast. I'm your host, Steff, and with me is...
I'm Scott.
Yes.
And I'm Scott. We know how to do intros now.
This is a podcast where we take some deep dives into some wonderful artists and kind of look at their account in a different way, which is always a little bit positive, a little awesome, and you guys can enjoy their accounts with us.
And now that we've gotten more professional, I try not to say any dumb stuff.
Mm-hmm. And I try to at least always end on a good note.
Here it comes. Oh my gosh, it's begun.
Scott always has to take a sip right before we start.
It preps me emotionally. Gets me feeling it.
Yeah. So, Ryan, welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much again for saying yes to two random people liking your work and deciding that we want to talk about it. So, we're ready for some fun and a good chat.
I'm happy. That must be a weird thing for some people. Like, I realize that, like, sometimes it's people that we really, like, you know, we both have had chats with before, but, like, when it's just, like, we've never sucked you into some sort of live feed or anything like that, and us just be like, hey, you want to be on our show? Like, it's kind of weird.
No, I mean, it was good. I was happy when I got it. I was just like, you want to be part of it? I'm like, yeah.
Cool. Very, very cool. Ryan, also, on behalf of SBN and Steff and I, thank you for your service. You are a Marine, correct? Marine Corps? Okay.
Yes.
That's what I thought. So we appreciate you, and thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Just wanted to start that out the gate. And yeah, thank you for being on here and hanging with us.
Yeah.
So I followed you for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
And a while for me, don't forget. Like, I mean, I've only done this for a little over a year. But you were definitely an early account of mine, especially as I was starting to explore people who do things that I don't do. You tend to focus very much on Legos, and I started getting really interested in Lego photographers. I started looking around because I don't shoot Legos. This is now the second time I've taken photos of Legos, and it was a blast. But you have this. I kind of described it in my little statement. Like, you take these figures, and I think they're the least posable anything. Like Legos,
Yeah.
Lego, and not just that, but you pick the most emotionless ones. You take these Legos that have no faces, they have nothing. It's a Lego with a helmet. So you've got helmeted Legos with no points of articulation, and you somehow make them these very emotional characters, and that is mind-boggling. For me, I think it's mind-boggling for a lot of people, and I'm always impressed by that. You'll post a photo, and I'm just like, why do I feel things? It's a lump of plastic. Like, it's really weird. And I've compared it to this before. I mean, what I do is much easier, in my opinion. I have much more range with my beings to make them do what I want. You pull their arms off and like glue them over, whatever you're doing. We'll get more into that, but like you do these things that make these Legos like really like feel things. There's one specific one, I don't know if it'll be in the slideshow at some point, but you actually like it's hugging like its legs and it's kind of like leaned over, and I'm just like, that's Legos are not supposed to do that. I'm sorry, but you're a sorcerer, so you're a demon. I don't know how you got here, but you've got some crazy skills. It's unbelievable. So, Ryan, really appreciate you being on here because I cannot wait to talk about your work. So
I appreciate the kind words. I really do. It really keeps me going because, like, it's a lot more complicated. It's not as complicated, but there are some stressful moments when I'm posing them, and I'm just like, it just gets. There's some times where I'm just like, I'll set them up, I'll get the camera ready, the lights are all set up, and then the wind comes in and just rolls them over. I'm like, all right,
that's it.
I'm gonna go inside. I'm gonna go. I'm done.
I gotta go take a breath before I like blow everything up that I own. Like, yeah,
I'm like, I'm gonna go watch TV. I'm gonna do this later. No,
disconnect.
It happens a lot.
Totally understand you. I was getting annoyed, and I barely did like what you do. Like I just skimmed the surface, and I was sitting up there like in the guest room, just like watching these things just go. And I'm like,
yeah, it's even worse when you see it slowly happen.
Yeah,
like,
and you can't do anything about it. You're just watching it.
I just sit there and I'm just like, all right, where are you gonna?
There you go. Bye. Like I was like ready to just like flick them right off the table. Just be like, boom, get out of here. I'm done with you. I'm picking another one because you've been a brat. Like, unbelievable. But yeah, fantastic stuff. So.
I was just telling Ryan too. That's like I discovered it on the podcast page, and now I know why. It's probably because Scott likes a lot of your work, and since Scott's one of the main focuses of that, he must have brought it up. Because the sheer grit, like actual physical grit in your photos, is just one of the things that I really like because I like a practical effect and everything like that. But when I took my representation of it, I could not get the granularity that you do on the flying dirt. Like your pieces are so small. I'm assuming it's because of the Lego scale and everything like that.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen it. Almost like feels like it's stuck in the air, and like the silence and stillness from that. It's like cinematic almost, how you would think you would watch something on the screen. And I was trying to encompass that because it's like Scott says, there's a lot of feeling to everything in those images. And I didn't even know about the military service till Scott just saw it. My dad is retired Air Force. So it makes so much sense now of how you're able to capture the things that he used to tell me about his stories and the Gulf and Vietnam and everything like that in an image, because that's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of somebody being there and being able to encompass what it is when debris is flying and things are happening, and just the sheer rawness of it is very, very cool. So
yeah. You get the feelings and you pass them out there, and I would love to see some veteran responses to some of your images, because I don't know if you've gotten any, but it's different. And again, it's your portrayal is different than just Star Wars Lego photos. There's something different there. It feels. There isn't a word in my head to describe it. I'm not usually like that stuck with words. And I can't quite pinpoint it. I couldn't quite pinpoint it when I was talking. I could writing it up for you. There's something in those images that like, it's almost like I sit here and I look and I'm like, wow, I can barely connect to that. Like, cause I don't know. I feel like there's another level there. You've reached like another level of Lego photography that is, really heavy. And every time you post, it's fascinating. And I love like how you go in these waves. Your feed goes in these waves. Like, it's not necessarily, I talk about some people who like very specifically curate, like me, or people who are kind of like all over the place and tried everything. You have these flows. It's really cool. Like it's like tides throughout your page. Like if you start at the beginning, especially when you really started to deep dive into the more like the war photography feel. And yes, I went back back.
No, I saw somebody you favorited him, and I was just like, oh, that's an old one.
That's an old one, yeah. And like I just started going through, and you see these like you go through all of these feelings, and like there's this consistent. It's like following a snake pattern. It's so interesting. It's not like you don't have these clear divides necessarily, but you watch like your feel and what you were going for evolve into something else, and then it slowly turns into something else, and it kind of comes back and waves through here, and then it's really cool. And I think I feel like anybody watching should take the time and go back and really like follow the trajectory, because it's fascinating. You have a really cool page. So yep.
Yeah.
And we're gonna just keep on making you more and more uncomfortable until your head explodes. So
no, I'm used to being put into uncomfortable situations, so
good. Let's do it.
It's all good.
All right, you ready for the first slides?
Let's go.
The beginning of the beginning.
Oh, I remember taking this one too.
So, Ryan, I know Steph normally asks this, but I'm just gonna jump the gun. Is this actually your first photo you ever posted, like or did you archive some things?
I think I archived like one or two.
Okay, but this is early.
This is like one of the first.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the first. Like I remember when I first started, I was just like, I need to be posting at least every other day. And this was one of like the beginning every other day post.
So funny.
It was, I filmed it. It was when I was in college. So when I got out of the military, I went straight to college, and this is when in my dorm room, I just took it, and there was a window facing over a desk, and I just had the camera, and I just was like, there we go. I'm just gonna post it right here.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I love the humor here. Like I love, and again, for knowing your page, I love how light this is and what it turns into. Like if you follow this, like 2 years later, what your page becomes, it's like, wait, what happened? Like it's so good.
Dark.
It is. It's so great though. Like I love the comparison between this from the spring of 2019 to like something from like fall of last year, and like if you put those two side by side, I mean this is alarming enough side by side, but like if you took like your Lego photos and put like, you know, one of your ones where there's like some Lego like mourning the loss of like two of his comrades, and then you put this next to it, it's like, oh my gosh, what happened? It's cool.
Yeah, it's such the huge like juxtaposition between it's insane. But then
that's cool. What is this figure on the right? Your newest, like what is that?
So I recently I wanted to get like a samurai, like a 1/6 figure. So I went on Big Bad Toys. I found like the cheapest one that was 1/6, and I found it. And I was just like, "Oh, this is cool."
That'll do.
And D-Woon Customs, I've always liked his custom work, so I was just like, "Hey, do you do commissions? Are you open for commissions right now?" And he said, "Yeah." I was just like, "Would you mind doing this one? Can you do the Ronin figure off Modern Warfare, that avatar skin?" And he goes like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And so a few expensive transactions later, shipping it over, and then he shipped it back. This is what he came up with, and I'm so happy. You know,
that's amazing.
The creativity that he did with it, and he completely changed the colors. He dyed all the outfits. He added some stuff to it. And the NVGs and everything. I was like, this is night and day from what I bought off Big Bad Toys to what I got sent from him.
Yeah,
amazing.
It was awesome. And the robots are actually from Spider-Man Far From Home. I bought those a while ago, and I just never got to the chance to using them or incorporate them in any photos. So I managed to incorporate them in this one, and it's kind of like a little drone, kind of like Ghost Recon, that little drone thing. Yeah,
so cool.
So the light too is just one of the LED lights on the bottom, and then I have one up top kind of angled so that way you can still get the black background. And this is just filmed on like a desk. So and then I have a smoke machine that comes in, and like it's the same problem I face, Stephanie, with dirt. It's hard to control, especially with smoke, because it has its own mind of its own, so you have to take multiple snapshots. You know, keep the camera and hold down the exposure button and like wait until you get like 30 exposures, and then you finally like scroll through which one.
Hopes that one of them works.
Hopefully one of them works to what you're thinking in your head to what you want to see on screen. So this is one of the. I think I took like about 40 different exposures, and I used different poses. You know, do different angles, see which one works, and this is the final, you know, what came out of that whole, I don't know, 2 hour, you know, me sitting in my room like sweating.
Yeah, I will tell you, like smoke placement is such a oh gosh, it is a frustrating thing. And granted, I don't use it a ton. It's who was it, Steph? Who did we have on here who was talking about the flavorless, nicotineless vape pen thing that he had? Where like you could just
was it Stefan?
It might have been. I forget, but they just used like a vape pen. Yeah, it's like a little vape pen that it's like the kind of thing like you see the vape people do. But like, I'm not a smoker or anything, so I'm like, I don't really want to get into that world. But it's apparently he found one because he's not either, he found this one that it's just water vapor. Like that's all it does. Like it's for the feel of it. So all you do is you smoke it as if you're smoking a vape. There's nothing in it except for, basic vape, like vapor, and you just blow it out in the direction you kind of want it to go. And I'm like, I gotta find one of these. And I don't even know where to start looking. Like I started looking for these things.
I don't even know where to go.
No, I don't know either.
I was using atmospheric aerosol, the ones in the cans, for a while, and those were cool. Except like the air pressure coming out of it would often knock over the Legos a lot.
Yeah.
So time it or place it in a place it where it doesn't knock it over, but you still get that dirt.
Yeah. No, it's a good point. I don't think about that as much with the aerosol, and Steph probably doesn't either. Or like with the larger figures, I mean, it doesn't. From what I've seen from people using it, and like even when I've used the compressed air and stuff, it never puts anything down. Like it's not strong enough to knock down like a 6-inch figure. So, but Legos are significantly lighter and will catch that breeze a lot quicker than
I have so many like failed photos where they're just like, flying off.
Yes.
I'm like, no,
launched them.
You can't find them half the time too if they fly off too far.
Well, even the small little brick arms rifles, they'll fly off, and I'm like, where to go?
Yeah, it was here. It was here.
For it.
I do like, and you're right, for when you take a ball, like when I set up a timer on mine when I do that, because I have to like walk around to where I'm at to throw the dirt and throw water and do all that stuff, because you can't be behind the camera at that time. And the worst thing ever is when you go by and you're kicking dirt and you kick the camera stand or the tripod by accident a little bit and it moves it like half a millimeter over and you're just like ruined.
I don't know how many times that has happened to me. It actually happened with this one too, where it just moved slightly and I was like, oh no.
And you can see that smoke you wanted like off to the side of like where you actually, it's the worst.
Super bummer.
Okay. You ready for?
Yes.
Here we go. So let's compare this. I want everybody to think for a second about what they just saw as the first photo, and then think about this one for a moment. I don't know what to say about it. Okay, so let's talk about this for a second. Mm-hmm. Are you in SCAD now, or? No,
I graduated.
You finished?
Yes.
Okay. Obviously, art background, art thought process. Like you definitely. There are no accidents really when it comes to your framing and stuff. I know there's happy accidents, Bob Ross stuff with the whole like smoke and dirt and things like that. But
happy clouds.
And happy, like you got your clouds and your birds and whatnot. That's fine. But the actual your framing and your composition is so thought out, and I think anybody would be hard pressed to find a photo through your feed that does not have intent behind the framing and whatnot. This dark stick or piece of wood and whatnot over on the far side, like, I think that's so cool. Like, I know that sounds like a weird thing to point out, but like I love the fact that there isn't just like a blank smoke area, which I think would have been more people's like natural instinct over on the right side to have just like smoke and I always forget that I'm reversed because of this. So over there, it would have been cool. Don't get me wrong with just that white, but there's something like, I don't know. It's like they're stuck behind something like this. I don't know. It adds this like tension to them, like this dark piece of like stick right there, and like the forest going way back. Like where are they? Are they around anything? How far are they from the battle at this point? Like, is this, they've got this guy down here. They're stuck. They're stressed. And as far as you can see, like, again, they're Legos, but as far as you can see in most directions, there's really nothing around. It's like upsetting. But yeah, I love that. I love the shadows. Your shadows are always just fire. And the direction of the lighting. You use directional lighting like unbelievably well. to create drama and intensity. And you look at their visors, and their eyes are in the shadows because of their visors and the light coming down. It's just, I don't know, it's really lovely. And I also love that you're able to kind of, again, with your exposure and stuff, you do manage to make the full figure. You can see the whole figure. You can see the feet and the legs and the arms and the hands and the rifle and the one standing behind. You can see all the way to the butt of the gun, and like everything is there. Nothing really disappears in this photo, but yet you have super, super deep blacks and super, super whites, but yet, nothing really vanishes. Just I love this stuff. I really do. You're such a unique look out there. So.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's kind of hard, like hearing somebody be like, give me like really good feedback. I'm like, oh, what?
Oh, what? Yeah, no. Well, in little things, again, going back to that artistic thought process, the branches that could have easily kind of like fallen into the back of his head and could have easily fallen into the back of his head and been like, if the separation wouldn't have been quite as obvious. But those branches are just that like little 1.5 millimeters behind his helmet, and it like helps the helmet stand out against the background. It doesn't get muddied up by any like those little like twiggy pieces. Those are all things that I feel like make a difference. The rifle not having like any converging lines with the stick that's laying in the bottom left corner of the image. Like, there's a separation there, and it just, everything, again, we'll go back to this over and over again on this show, but whether it is 100% intentional or it's just your subconscious artistic like understanding making the decisions, it doesn't matter. There are decisions being made in your brain that are making these things happen. You know what I mean? Like it's not not a like, oh well, that kind of worked out nice. It's something in there, again, whether you're deciding it or whether your brain's deciding it without you realizing, it's there, and it's it's great, really cool.
Thank you. Like I know like what I always try to do with the photos too, like you mentioned with the tree branch here, I always try to like have a balanced, I guess that's like the artistic, like the SCAD way, because I graduated with a film and TV degree, and I worked a lot in the lighting department and cinematography department. So I always think of it as like movie stills almost in a way, and try to have a balanced composition with the figures and their environment. And this is just one of them I did with it took a couple tries, but it was with the atmospheric aerosol always that problem with the fog. But I figured out that if I just use a spot lamp, and I had like a mini one, and I just placed it kind of off to the side and then sprayed the aerosol kind of like right on top of it, it created that little like what I like to call like the God ray kind of
God beams type,
God beams type thing, and that's what comes up. And like you'll see it in other photos I do, like because I'll be like, oh, this looks cool, I'm gonna do it again, and keep doing it. And then like, and after a while, I kind of was like, okay, I'm doing it too much, I'm overplaying it just a little bit, and especially in the black and white photos, it works really well.
Yeah.
It really
when
does.
You don't have all the color to play with, like you're not having like, you can't really tell which leaves or what's flower, what's a stick, what's the background, what's the smoke. Having your God ray, which I love the term, by the way, in there just adds those layers of texture, and it just makes it interesting. And so having foreground, like we know that they're heading towards something, like Scott said, that it's like almost like a break in there. It adds that suspense and that stillness that you're capturing with your images. I like all the texture on the ground. Like a lot of people can just like forget about these things, that you have all this stuff going on, but you left that in there too. You left the grit on the guy that's in the ground. Like you could see it on him, on the figure, which is not always necessary. The attention to detail to basically tell a cinematic scene in one still it's amazing. So
absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, and I love black and white photography. Like it's like my jam. If I could do it all on one page, it'd be amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it really. I mean, to me, it depends on the situation that I do as well. Sometimes black and white photography really helps convey the emotions a little bit more, and sometimes color. You know, now that I have those new lights, I have like little gels that I can put on, and I can do different colors based on emotions and different scenarios or like situations that I want to portray in the photograph. So, but yeah, black and white, I love doing them. They're always great to edit. They're always great to take with that in mind, you know.
Yeah.
I have a question with posing real quick. Just because for people who have never shot with Legos, the head tilt on the guy over the guy, like
the medic kind of right here.
Yeah.
Like
the fact that because obviously anybody watching this has probably played with Legos. Let's be honest, this has been our lives forever. But what do? Do you just like sit the helmet like a little higher? Do you how do you create that? Like, what's your process there?
I remember I told this to Broken Artist, Matt, and so I ended up figuring out that if I take like the studs and then put it inside the helmet, and then take some kind of like a big ball of clay, and then I shove it in the helmet, and then you put it on top of the minifigure, and you can rotate it any degree. You just have to take it, take the photo base so you don't see kind of like so much of the shoulders and so much exposing of the neck a bit. But like, even in some photos I have, you can still see it just a little bit. But like, I figured that out once I did with the Forgotten series, the first part of it, where the first black and white kind of stuff I did, where like I finally was like, I just bought some silly putty randomly at the drugstore, and I was just like, let's see, because I want to make them move. I want to make them, do different things, because Legos, we mentioned it, they don't moving at all. They're not articulate.
Their heads do this. That's it.
They're just that, and then they just do this. So I want to be able to make them, go like, move around just a little bit. So clay really helps a lot. It's just, you have to be like I said, like with like using the fog machine or sometimes the atmospheric aerosol, they'll fly off and then you're missing an arm and you have to go find it, put it back together. Or sometimes they'll slowly move down and they'll break apart and you're just like, no, I got to figure them out. And then finally, I have a lot of my friends that do like Warhammer 40K little figurines, and I know they have bases. So I was just like, why don't I just buy some mini bases and then kind of put the silly putty on that and then cover it up with the dirt, so it looks like they're kind of in there, but they're also like, that's how I can get the 1 foot kind of like balancing, kind of the what's that term? I learned it in school and I totally forgot. It was like where like sculptures would often balance put the weight on that 1 foot, and that way they can do kind of rotations with their the body, so it looks like they're kind of walking. Sculptor. It's kind of, I don't know, I forgot what it's called. It's an Italian word.
I was gonna say, it sounds like something with like an Italian like stone sculpture, a marble sculpture and stuff like that.
Like the Greeks perfected it, and the Romans did it a lot, and so that's kind of how I picture it, doing it as well. Try to put the weight of the Lego on that 1 foot while it's stuck on the clay on the base. So
it gives it motion. Absolutely, that makes so much sense. And,
it does.
But yeah, like people don't give enough credit to that nuance of head tilt, bend, and stuff like that. Like, you can take really well lit, well framed photos of Legos all day, but when you do this thing where you just start adding the actual dynamic range of them, and it's truly baffling. I love that.
It makes them more like human to me.
Yes.
So I try to do that. I try to, at least in every photo, not to have them standing still, but at least having their head look down, maybe their arms in a different way that shouldn't be bending. But like, I try to make that human type of element with these figures. And, I'm glad it's being, it's being recognized. So it's nice to see, people
Yeah.
are like, that's really cool. I'm like,
Yeah.
sweet.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Where are we going next? Oh, see, this is the stuff, man. Like, gosh, what do you shoot with as far as lenses go? Just out of curiosity.
So in the beginning, I was using the basic, like the base. What was it? It was the 55 millimeter,
Yep.
35 to 55 millimeter on a Nikon D3 100.
Yeah.
And so, like, I always tell people too, because I get asked this question. This is like, how do you do the dust? And like, especially sometimes I know Galactic Warfighters, he throws his, but like I use a computer air duster
Mm-hmm.
and I spray it. Like you'll see it like, so like the dust is coming in. So let's say it's Scott, it's on your left of your screen, I
Mhm.
guess. So it's coming from my right of the figure where he's looking at the distance.
Yeah.
And so the dust is coming in that way. And you have to get that one with the long tube. So that way you can kind of get it underneath the
Yep.
dust and it could spray. And I always shot with kind of like a low f-stop. So let's say the lowest I can go with the base was like 5.6. But
Yeah.
then I upgraded, I got a 50 millimeter. And then I finally, and it was opened all the way at 22, but I can go down with the f-stop to 2.8.
I was gonna say 2.8 or like 1.4 usually with the 50s.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, it was so clear, so nice, and I stopped using the base one. I was like, I'm done. I'm not using this. I'm using the 50s.
it ruins you. It ruins you really fast. Lenses. It's so funny. Lenses beyond like, and I've talked to people about this when I worked up in Boston and stuff. Like, I will tell you, like, you can buy all the new bodies, all the new, the new gear, the new bodies, blah, blah, blah for the cameras. And yeah, you're going to get better stuff. You're going to get, better resolution, low ISO settings, blah, 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 blah. But the things that are always going to change you, like, are lenses. Lenses will always change your brain. Like, you don't realize it until you start playing with them and you start, like, trying different, wide angles versus telephotos and your depth of field. I mean, when you start playing with those, and I feel like especially the smaller you shoot, like on a smaller scale, it's so crazy.
It's
the
insane.
difference. And I don't think people give enough credit sometimes to lenses. I think they worry so much about, like, this camera body, but lenses will just, like, they'll blow your mind. Like, you could have the same camera body for 15 years, I swear, but like if you get like a few different lenses and start testing them next to each other, you will see differences. It's baffling.
I totally agree. It's insane. And especially with this shot too, so like with this, I think it was with this base lens, so I always, like I said, I shot with a low f-stop, high shutter speed, and then a high ISO or ASA, depending, who you talk to,
where you're hanging out,
who are you? So with the high ISO, so this one, so that way you can still get the light captured. It will come out just a little bit grainy, but you can always go to Lightroom and fix it with the noise reduction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's pretty much like all kind of like the basic editing I would do is just on Lightroom.
Yeah.
I'm not really good with Photoshop, so a lot of it, I try to do a lot of technical stuff with the camera.
Yep.
Try to get as much as I can on the field before I take it to the computer. And it was just, especially with this shot, I took this one was just kind of like one of those things where it's just like, all right, I got a schedule. I need to take it. Let's just grab some figures to see where I can come up with, in a day I'm off from work today. I don't have any classes, let's go to the porch and just, I have something set up and let's go take some photos.
Well, you do such great use with foreground. Steff mentioned it in the last photo.
Mm-hmm.
This little like squiggly branch across the front,
Mm-hmm.
so good, so freaking good. I feel like this photo would be missing out if it didn't have that awesome, like, just deep black, like, branch that just separates things a bit. The amount of grit and dust is, like, not too much, not too little, very practical, very real. Some people, we get excited sometimes when we have, like, let's blow stuff all over it. Like, yeah, okay, You know, I've done it. I get like overzealous. But like it's like a good amount. The light coming from behind on the foreground and his helmet is just like too good.
I was just lucky where I was living. Like I took this on my deck and I kind of set it up on like a giant wooden kind of plank in a way, and I would just make just steps. And like I remember you mentioned for the one you did for your study, you did trees with the styrofoam. And I did that too. I would be doing that too.
Stuff them in. Hope they stay. Exactly.
I found out too that if I would find trees and I kind of like flatten the bottoms just a bit.
Yeah.
And then I use aluminum foil to make bases. And then you can cover them up with dirt.
And it gives it like a nice arc at the ground.
It's a nice like little arc where it stands, it looks like a tree. And I've seen some other people where balance bricks, he just does the same thing with the styrofoam, or he just glues them onto a piece of paper. I'm like, it's this, I mean, whatever works.
Yeah, whatever you can turn into something believable. But
I mean, it's your backyard is your Michael's supply store. So.
Yeah, it really is. And that's a great thing.
Getting all the dirt from is from your backyard.
Yeah, I'm getting all my dirt from like, and it's weird because like when I was at Scott and Steff, the kind of like the apartment complexes were just kind of converted little houses. Go out in the middle of the day, and I'm living right by the street, and I just come over with a bucket and like a shovel, and I'm just digging like in the middle of the street, just getting some dirt.
Yep.
And then I bring it back to my apartment, and then I just like dump it on the thing, and I kind of spread it out with the trees and everything, and try to make it look good. I'd go to Hobby Lobby, and I would buy some of those mini train set branches, bushes and stuff like that. That really helps, especially if you're making kind of like a large forest scene, or if you're buying like grass or anything. It's whatever, like those model sets, those model kits. I mean, they do wonders for background and atmosphere. So it's really good.
I bought stuff I told Steff this morning at the model train shop. So I have a model train shop by me. It's huge. The place is enormous, and it's for just hobbyists and whatnot. And I went in there just because I was trying to come up with, like, right now everything is like full summer, like it's 90 degrees out, and I'm like I need something that's like orangey and yellow. And I walked in, I was like, never really done much shopping here before. I came here a long time ago when I was a kid, but do you guys have like fall foliage? And he was like, yeah, we got some fall foliage. And he like walks me to the back. This place is like gigantic. And I just bought like these bags of just orange and yellow, like kind of fluffy stuff. And it's like, they had everything. As I was looking through, I mean, you're right. Like I never even thought about all the crazy things you can get there. Like I could definitely find stuff there that I could utilize even with 6-inch scale and bigger. Like there's stuff that I could make work. But yeah, it's a cool place. It's something like I said, I had never really thought about connecting the toy photography to that place. But yeah, it's awesome. If any of you are in like the New Jersey, Pennsylvania area, Trains and Lanes, man. I will tell you, Trains and Lanes is awesome. That's what it's called, Trains and Lanes. It's like RC cars and train hobbyists. It's super cool.
Such a unique store model too. Like who like decides on that?
And I mean, they have a lot of space. Like I'm like, this is not a cheap piece of property. Like they have to be doing okay because like
they have to. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that store clerk was like, some guy just came in and bought like a bunch of fall foliage. It's like you're gonna be the story of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he doesn't even know anything about trains.
I feel so awkward walking out of Hobby Lobby with a bunch of model stuff, and like the cashier brings me up. He's like, "Is that all, sir?" I'm like, "Please don't make me answer."
Yeah, exactly. Don't make me answer.
Don't make me answer. I think.
I think this is it. I'll be back in an hour.
I'm gonna say this was funny too. I had to ask Scott because I wasn't sure if you shot outside or inside or a combo, because like you can't really tell with your photos. Like you do so well with the actual like setup of everything that I don't know where it's located, which is amazing in its own right. So I even like remember talking to Scott about this morning because I was showing my my boyfriend Devin all your photos because I was like, look at how cool this is, and he was like, oh, we must shoot indoors on some of these, and I was like, I don't think so. I think it's all outside. He's got all the dirt and the trees and everything's flying around, but the fact that you do that in your apartment and have to clean that up is honorable enough too.
Yeah. So this one was outside on my deck. The
Yeah.
previous one was inside.
Yeah.
So I made like a little makeshift studio inside, and then I
So
do have
cool.
one outside. So
It really
I'll go
is so
back and
cool.
forth. Yeah.
You are very like, and I said this to Steph, like most people tend to be really good at one or the other. And I'm not trying to speak for Steph, but I think both of us are more comfortable outside. I enjoy it more. I shoot better outside. But you are very like, you bounce back and forth without like even dropping a note. Like I feel like you're just like, oh, I'm gonna shoot inside. Maybe I'm gonna shoot outside. Nah, I'm gonna shoot. Like I can't possibly think like that. I can't. Like going, if I go on a super roll where I'm shooting outside like weeks and weeks and weeks, and I try to shoot inside, it's like watching like a newborn deer try to walk. It's embarrassing. And then like the opposite, like if I start shooting inside a little bit more, I start getting comfortable and I start getting a vibe for it. But then usually I want to go back outside after like 5 good indoor shoots, and then I lose everything I just gained. So it's like your ability to go back and forth is really cool.
I'm glad it appears that way because sometimes
It feels weird.
it feels weird. Yes.
Mhm.
I'll go outside. I'll spend like I'll get all sweaty and all messy and everything. I come back inside. I look at the photos. I'm like, these look like crap.
Yeah, why did I do this?
Why did I do this? I'm just going to stay inside. And then, sometimes I do it inside and then I'll be like, let me try outside this time. And I'll just go like try to figure out. It all depends on the situation and the picture I'm trying to take.
Yeah, the story. Yeah,
Mhm.
very cool.
Yeah. Speaking of God beams,
The God ray.
God
it's freaking ridiculous. The fact, again, let's talk about framing, blah, 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 blah. Scott's going to rant about framing again. Like, look at the placement in that little triangle of trees there. I mean, that guy could not be better positioned. Like, that is flawless. I love you do this periodically. Are these logs that are backlit? These logs, I call them logs. They're branches. Like these things. It's like this tall. Shut up, Scott.
Yes.
These branches that are backlit and just like completely black, and these like just like right in these stark areas of the frame. I think it's so cool. It gives such a depth to your photos, and it's not like, I don't want you to think it's like a signature or anything like that. You don't overdo it. It's not like, oh my gosh, he puts these in every photo, but like you do it frequently enough that it is a character trait of your images, and it just makes the photos so like there's just a heaviness that I can't explain it any other way that these dark spots create, like the one from a few before, like with the right next to the guys laying there on the ground, that dark stick right on the right side. Like, yeah. And texture. I'm sure Steph can talk about texture in this photo for the next forever till the end of time.
Yeah, especially on his gun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. I have
You
to
see
look at
everything there. Everything there. The detail. Oh God.
Mm-hmm.
Wild.
Yeah, this one was shot inside too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I can't tell. If I go outside and do a shoot, I'm sticking random sticks in the actual ground, so I don't have foam out there, so it's kind of like randomly set up. So to me, this could have been anywhere, shot anywhere with one of your lights coming out there. But like the way the smoke, you captured it actually like fading brighter, which usually doesn't happen the other way around. So it's kind of one of those things. It's just really, really cool to look at and see, and very nice.
Just imagine, I have thoughts like what this guy is thinking, whether or not you had a specific plan in mind or not. I mean, that's fine. It's just, but like I could picture people looking at this and like, again, 1.5 inch piece of plastic, but like something's going on in that little plastic head. Like it's so crazy. It's so crazy. Like I don't. I'm in awe. Absolutely in awe.
Yeah, you guys are great. I mean, it's that's how, you know, I sometimes like I think for this series too, I was planning them out, and so what I would do, I would kind of write out the story. Like I have like a journal, I would write out the story, and then I would do thumbnail sketches of each of the scenes that I want to take, and sometimes they'll change depending on the situation. But yeah, this one I just kind of like thumbnailed it until, and then just kind of did a little God Ray thing, and I was like, all right, this is how it's gonna. Maybe this will look out okay.
Yeah. Do you usually journalize like how you're going to start setting up stuff and kind of like draw it out and kind of figure?
Especially if it's a photo series, I'll write out a whole journal, like in the perspective of like the soldier, especially the Hill 122 series. I did I wrote out everything, like the whole journal entries. You know, I even typed them up, and then I did thumbnail sketches of what I wanted them to look like. I picked out the characters. You know, I kind of like organized it and I planned for it. And then I was just like, okay, this is where I was going to start. This is where it's going to end. And this is how it's going to go. And
amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that. I love that that's part of the process. I mean, that's huge. That's huge.
It just helps me get my thoughts in kind of like on paper. Then I can see it. And then I'll look at it, make changes to it. Like I'll write it in different markers sometimes, just to be artistic, just to be kind of cool with it. But yeah, I mean, I'll even make mood boards sometimes too. I made a couple.
Cool.
Yeah.
I just like having the time to sit down and be able to fully express yourself on a piece of paper, to be able to visually express it on something like this is just. It's mind-blowing to me, because you think about it, sometimes we take that for granted, that time, because everything moves so fast. It's nice to hear that there's still like the processes in place to like really focus on you expressing yourself and everything else that happened with your account. It's not something that you're just, I have to take 80 photos in a month and like let me post them all right now. So it's kind of nice.
No, we also get caught up, I feel like a lot of us, like, and we forget to do that part of it. And you know, the fact that you invest in that, Ryan, is awesome, because you're, you know, we all are, you know, we're all busy human beings. We do like crazy things all the time. We're all like running around because that's the world we've created for ourselves and whatnot. But like, you recognize the importance of it, and you take it and you make that part of your process, and that is excellent. Excellent.
Appreciate it.
There we go. Some lighter stuff.
Like exactly.
This is, you got to do it. You have to do the lighter stuff sometimes. This is fantastic. This is so funny. It's funny, but it's also beautiful. What'd you say?
I was like stopped on this photo like 4 times. I was like, should I put it? I'm putting this in there.
You have to. Like, it's actually like a really good image too. I want to say, like, again, I'm not saying like my eyes are what they once were, but I feel like there is Fibonacci sequence here. If you laid out like a golden ratio like template over top of this, I feel like it's in there, because I'm looking at like where the fishing line is falling compared to where the cape is. And there's not like this is not rule of thirds at all. Like it's not, and it's like it's close, but that's kind of what Fibonacci sequence tends to feel like. And I'm looking at it, and I'm almost wondering if we like laid out a template over it, like if it would. We might have to do that later, Steff, just for funsies. Put it as like an interlude after this is over. But like it's so cool. Like the framing is intriguing here, like really intriguing. It's the kind, like, again, it seems silly, but like if I walked into I'm not making this up. If I walked into somebody's house, I've been into a lot of like really snobby art houses, okay, like really snobby art houses. If I walked into one and this was hanging on the wall, I wouldn't even question it. I would just be like, oh yeah, that's a piece that somebody hung. Like that's definitely a thing. Like a 24 by 30, just like gigantic. I'd be like, yeah, absolutely.
Just in the living room and the couch, TV.
Yeah,
I would not even flinch. I would just go, look at that piece. That's cool. That's a cool piece right there. Like that's what's so interesting about this photo. It's not just funny. It's like there's something
it's good.
Here. It's really good. Like it's got humor, but it's also got some serious chops behind it, like photography and art chops. Like that's cool, legit.
Thanks. Yeah, I took this one for a college assignment. It was when I first started doing photography, when I took like my first college like photography class, and like one of the assignments was like trying to remember, I think it was like do something with like a high f-stop but low shutter speed or something like that.
Yeah.
So I just kind of like sat there and just I was just like, what's something funny I can do? And I was just like, Darth Vader fishing in the toilet. It seems pretty funny.
Yeah, why not?
I'm just going to place him right here, and I did this in my apartment too. I even wiped down the toilet seat, make it clean.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want people seeing anything nasty on there.
Of course not.
No.
This is such a specific question. I'm so sorry I asked such weird things once in a while.
It's perfect.
Darth Vader's cape. Is this the actual Lego cape that came with Darth Vader, or did you get like something like more raggedy and custom for him?
This is the one that came with it.
Okay.
I haven't changed him, yeah.
Okay, I love the fact that it almost has a like kind of a rough look to it. It's not like clean and pristine. Like it's like Darth Vader like down on his luck just fishing. Like it's so good. Like I feel like it sounds ridiculous, but the roughness of his cape I feel like adds to this photo. Like I love the fact that there's like this kind of textury scratchiness around the edge and stuff. Like because I'm thinking like I think I've got a couple of the Vader Legos and their capes are like stiff and like perfectly little triangles. This like looks like he's just like, oh, I gotta fish because I can't buy my own food anymore. Like I don't know, it's so funny. I love it. I love this photo.
Star cafeterias out of my favorite tempura.
Oh God. I love it.
I know we forgot to ask you where your handle comes from too. I just realized this. Like,
oh yeah, we never even asked that. Where does your handle come from?
So I remember I told Matt this too. It's just like I think I came up with it when I was drinking one night when I had to come up with an Instagram, because I was just like, I use tier a lot, because I started on Brickshelf with Lego stuff, doing mocks, like little creations, then mock pages and Flickr, and I always had tier as my thing, and I was just like, oh, what's a good name? I can't think of a name. What's gonna be good? Tier mirror would work, and that
was it. You went with it. That is excellent. I think that is probably one of the most straightforward stories we've gotten on this podcast. Just like, this is how it happened. I was drinking. This is my name. The end. Like, that's brilliant. I love it.
That was it. Me in my dorm room, I was just like, I need an Instagram. I need an Outlook.
Mm-hmm.
I was down on my luck, and I was absolutely. Just like, I need something to do.
Boom. Done. I love it. I love that.
Very cool. It's really unique too. Like it's like if you picked something, it's perfect.
Yeah. People know your name too. That's what's really interesting. Like people see it and they know it. You have a fan base obviously, but like you also like people know when you bring up your handle, like it registers in people's heads. So you definitely, whether you meant to or not, you picked a name that stands out. So
I like this one. Did this one for Scott's photography page for his little mini contest.
Oh yeah, what's his handle?
Scotty's photography.
Scotty's, or does he do like a Scotty's photography or something? Does he do something funny like that?
Something play on like that. And I did it for one of his contests, like ice and water, and This one was, I took a couple tries, but it's basically same thing with like I took it inside and I put like a little container of water, and then I had a firework fuse lit, and then I did the computer air spray and sprayed it, and then I took the shot at the same time. So I had to be like really quick with it and be like, all right, get it. So, and I posed him just like that. So he didn't move, but he did fall over right after this shot. So
It's all right. You got the shot.
I got the shot.
It's fun seeing you because you are, in my mind, you are such a Lego photographer. Like, obviously, you're capable of doing all kinds of things. I've seen you start to put like actual, like army, like different like soldiers and stuff like that. You've started utilizing those, which is super cool.
Yeah.
But I love seeing you do, because you do stuff that's not Lego just as well as you do stuff that is Lego. You're not pigeonholing yourself into one particular type of photography. But you also, for people who do not know, you can also take human photos, because I've seen those as well. You have a classical photography,
contemporary page.
Yeah, your more traditional work away from toys.
Those are for the job applications. I just
exactly. You don't send people your toy photos. You send them. Yeah. This is my professional work. I know. I understand that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you do it all, and this is so cool. The posing, again, for somebody who poses like Legos and stuff, you took this figure and put it in such an authentic pose. I mean, like, good God, like it is like that shoulder forward with like the head down and like the gun back. Like, it's just, I don't know. You feel the tension here. It's cool. It's cool. Like he's charging into something. Like he's about to, but something's going down, and you can feel it.
Yeah, I mean, I always try to think of it like how I would place myself as well. Like I'll even post myself in front of the mirror.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, how would I do?
How would I do this if I was trying to?
Yeah. Maybe I go like this, or
yeah. Can my arm actually do this, or just because I have a toy? Like,
can I bend it this way?
Uh-huh.
I'm not gonna find out, but
I know.
Yeah,
I know. I've done that. I've definitely tried. Like, I'll be in front of a mirror with a toy, like posing myself and like trying to do it, and then I'll get like really annoyed if the joint, like, especially with Black Series figures, from like the Black Series people, usually like one hand does this, and then another hand will do this. But they obviously can't do all of them, so I'm like, oh no, I want this one to go this way. Like, I'm like pushing it, like, come on, you can make it smush a little bit, like, I know.
Like, I'm like over here trying to like bend it. I'm like, you gotta go over.
Come on, I can do it. Why can't you?
Yeah, I know. Who designed these things?
Yeah, God, Hasbro, get it together.
Oh
my goodness. I like the shadowing because like the lighting. Your lighting's amazing, anyways. But it's always like the highlight the way like a stormtrooper looks. Like, you've seen stormtroopers forever, and you always make them look new and like kind of inviting into your whole world. So it's nice. Are you angled, or is the figure angled?
the figure is angled.
I thought so.
Mm-hmm. I always try to. It's hard because like you have to get them balanced in a way, and even using like sticks or like paper clips or something like that to try to get them the handle. And then like you can take a full body shot, but then don't be afraid to crop it. You know, zoom in if you have to.
Yep.
I always tell people it's like crop it. It's okay to crop.
Yeah.
It's okay for hard shadows. It's okay for harsh light. You know, it makes it look. That's how it is in real life. You're not going to get perfect lighting all the time. So.
Yeah. I used to be such a brat with the cropping. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I was such a brat with the cropping. I would not do. I'm like, no, I gotta stay authentic to the frame. Like, and then I'm just like, and I've gotten much better at like saying, you know what, like this, I accidentally left this stuff on the edges, unnecessary, or even thinking in advance. Like, this is what I have to work with right now. And I know when I get home, I'm going to crop this part out. Like, I know that already in my head. Like, I'm going to take this whole side, get rid of it, because I don't need it. And, but man, because as somebody who's, did you shoot much film in school? Like like
35
photography
millimeter.
film, 35 millimeter medium format or
I
anything
do
like
it.
that?
Yeah, I've done it. I do it occasionally. I do it now as
Yeah.
well, just to get more practice with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like especially when you have like a certain amount, like especially just 20, like 35 exposures
Mm-hmm.
or 30 exposures with film, it really helps, get your mindset like, okay, this is how cropping's gonna go. This is what I want to take, or get like really fast when you're trying to go out in public with a 35 millimeter camera.
Yeah, and I think film was one of those things that like it made me a little too stubborn to the format, and I had to sort of let go of that at times, especially as I got more into toy photography and less into like fine art type photography. As I started to kind of gravitate into this and realize that like you said, it's okay to crop people. If you want to get rid of stuff, like get rid of it. It doesn't matter. It's your image at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
You do not have to stay true to the original frame. As I constantly working on myself with that, but
I am
do as
too.
I say, not as I do, kind of a situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. Like, even I have a hard time with cropping or even composition sometimes too. It takes some practice. I mean, I always tell people like practice. You got to keep taking photos. You got to keep practicing, and you're going to get better.
Absolutely.
Over time, you will get better.
Absolutely.
I mean, I guarantee it. Oh yeah, this one.
Here we go.
Yeah, the Vietnam ones.
Yeah.
These were a pretty penny to buy. I don't understand why they were so expensive.
Are these? What is it called? Like, what's the brand?
They're Damn Toys.
Yeah. That's what I thought. Like, because I've seen some of these because they're 6-inch roughly, right?
They're roughly like the same size as Black Series.
Yeah. Like I kept looking at them too because I was like thinking to myself like, what could I do with them? And then they're so pricey. Like I don't know. That's not the end all, like begin all, like kind of situation. But I'm just like, I'm like I want to, but there's other things I want to buy. Like I don't know, but they're awesome though.
It's like I don't know if I'm buying for the brand or like they're so detailed.
Yeah.
And they have so many accessories with them. Their clothing, you can remove their clothing and everything. Everything is removable.
Yeah.
Like they're based off the characters off Platoon, the movie.
Oh.
So, yeah, this one's William Dafoe. So this is William Dafoe's character doing this little Medal of Honor charge.
They seem kind of like I'm not nothing. Mezco people don't yell at me. They seem like even more high-end Mezco toys is what they almost kind of seem like. When I've seen them, like videos and unboxings of them on YouTube, they seem like really like all these, the fabric, every little detail, the belts, they have all these extra.
So detailed. It's insane.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But it's the only there is some Photoshop with this one. It's just the joints. So I Photoshopped the joints and that's it. But because it doesn't look so attractive with it, but some people keep them in. I don't like to have them in.
I get that.
Yeah.
One thing I love that you did with this, and whether it was intentional or not, don't care. I think it's cool. I love that you gave this a very, like, it feels like it was taken at the time. It's got that faded out black and white vibe. Like it's not super contrasty, because back then, a lot of photography during these wars and whatnot, there wasn't a lot of, they were developing the film out there in the fields almost, like it was crazy, like, and so there wasn't a lot of time for like precision, okay, we're in the darkroom for an hour working on one image. It was like you were just going. So if you look back on some of the old war photos and whatnot in the field, like they do kind of have like almost like a faded sort of look to them, because you worked with what you had. And I love that about this. It feels like photojournalism of the time.
I tried for this series, especially. I tried to get it that way.
Yeah.
I looked at a lot of Vietnam photographers like Larry Burrows and Gene Smith, a lot of them, and I looked at a lot of their photographs and try to see, how they took it, what composition they did. So a lot of them I tried to like copy their composition in a way, but then kind of, and then turn it black and white. Some of theirs were in color, which I wasn't a fan of, but their black and white photography is incredible. It was really good. Especially Smith's. He did Way City, and then Burroughs did, I think he did Hamburger Hill, I think. And some of his photos were in color, but Smith's were in black and white, and they're just gritty. They're really, he did a lot of famous ones that I saved on my computer to make mood boards with, and I was just like, I'm going to put it together. And then that's how I take the inspiration from.
Platoon, the movie, I'm assuming is one of your favorites too for these figures to.
I mean, Charlie Smith's performance could use a little bit of work, but but it is a good movie.
Happens.
But it's one of those, compared to Saving Private Ryan, I can watch Platoon over again. Saving Private Ryan, I have to be in the mood for. Like, it's so graphic, it's so, heavy, insane. I mean, it's a great film, but it's like I have to be in the mood for it. Like, if
it's not like you just turn it on while you're hanging out on a Friday night. Yeah, I know.
You can't order a pizza and have a soda and be like, I want to watch Saving Private Ryan. I'm like, no, I can't.
No, it feels weird.
Yeah, it feels weird, and then afterwards, I'm like, I need to take a nap.
Yeah,
it's just like a really heavy movie.
Yeah,
and it's from beginning to end. Like, I just feel like there's very little like letdown in that movie. And it's long. How long is Saving Private Ryan?
It's about like 2
It's a longer one.
2+. Like, again, it's beautiful. It's filmed beautifully. The colors like unbelievable, but it's a hard one to rewatch. Like, I think honestly, as somebody who I love rewatching movies that I like, and I rewatch a lot of movies, and I think I may have only watched Saving Private Ryan like twice, honestly, because of the fact that it is so like, okay, here we go. We're gonna do this. Like,
I'm gonna be in the mood for it. Here's the roller coaster ride.
Yep. I know.
But yeah, I mean, this is this one was.
I was just saying, your compositions are just like, it's hard to choose any to like kind of like showcase where your page kind of goes. I just kind of picked some cool ones that I happened upon while I was going through your feed, and just the abyss on the left, then going to that. It's just very, I don't know. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, this one's a good one too. I mean, it's just like, the late night snack.
Yeah. It's great, but again, I feel the same way about this photo that I feel about that Darth Vader fishing in the toilet one. Like, yeah, it's light, but there's still there's still beauty to it. It's so cool. I love the way that you're able to do that. I'm trying to think on the photos I've taken. I don't think I personally have ever taken a beautiful, funny toy photo. Like, I don't think I have. Like, I don't. I'm thinking, like, not that I take a whole lot of like humorous photos, but I don't think I could pick a single one that's like a beautiful photo with humor in it. Again, if I walked into somebody's house and this was hanging, I wouldn't question it. I would just go, very nice, and I keep walking. Like, it's so cool. The thing that I like about this is actually, this is going to contradict some of the things I really love about your work, which is, you're probably going to laugh at, but the Lego hole in the back of his leg, that it's illuminated, and you can tell clearly that it's a Lego, is so cool. It's so cool for this photo. Like, I can't explain why. I wish I had a real concrete reason. But for this image, I love the fact that it is so clear that he's a Lego. And anyone who knows Legos can see that lit up hole in the back of his leg and go, holy crap, that's a Lego looking in there. Like, I think it's awesome. And again, it goes against the whole thing when I talk about like your posing and how you're able to create something that's doesn't feel like a Lego. I actually love that this feels like a Lego. I think that's so great, that little thing there. It's just, there was one of the first things that pulled me in, and I looked, I was like, huh, I love that I can see that that's a Lego leg. That's so cute. Like, I don't know. Great image. Great image.
Thanks.
So well lit, too.
Yeah, I took this one with, I used my phone light behind the refrigerator. That was it. And I just turned off all the lights in my bedroom.
That's cool.
Taken out that way.
That's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you can relate to it at the same time. It looks like you could look. This sounds really silly, but like this could be perfect for like when you have things for like the back of phone cases and posters and stuff. I could see this in like every college dorm, like as the highlight of like the image for the year. Like people would have this. They have this image and the Darth Vader in the toilet like hanging above their beds because it's like the cool thing.
Yeah. Who hasn't been in the Stormtrooper's position? I was in the Stormtrooper's position last night.
Pizza's in there too.
I mean, just last night, I was doing the exact same thing.
We all do this. This is how we all live. It's great. I love it. Relatability. So good.
I think we're going to the challenge now because I think this is the end of the.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes, this one. You have a few of these, and I love that. So what's kind of funny is, am I screwing this up? I don't think you didn't. Steff, you didn't put any like of these big like vast vertical shots in the slideshow, right? Okay. So Ryan, you do this periodically, and this was something that I tried to like vaguely try to do an interpretation of. I love this. I used to do this a lot with band photography and like musicians and stuff like that, with just an insane amount of space above the head of the subject. And you do this periodically with these vertical shots, and I adore it because, and again, not just because I used to do it, like I love it because it is such an interesting look, and you don't see it a ton, but you notice it when people do it. And I love that you did this for the challenge because you'll do this periodically, like every like, you know, 20 photos or so, I'll see you do one of these like vast vertical shots. I always have loved this. I've always loved this look and this vibe that you get when you put the subject low in the frame. I've also done it with, I'm trying to think, like I think I've even done it with cars and like some other odds and ends. I've even done it with buildings. Yeah, I've seen it done with like sports car photo shoots.
Yes.
Even like portraits too. Like I've seen like music video covers.
Yes.
Music covers, CD covers especially, where they just have the subject right at the bottom and then there's a bunch of empty space up top. I mean, it just makes it seem like the person's bigger in real life in a way. It makes it just like seem like they're just, you know, this is their environment, this is where they're in. You know, this is their world that they're in. And I love doing them too. They're always fun to make. And I try to stop myself from doing them all the time because I love doing them. It's so cool to me. I like doing those, but I have to stop myself.
It's really cool. I really, really, really love this. I know I've even seen, like, my dad's a scenic photographer, and I know he's utilized this before too. Whether it's with something really interesting in the foreground, whether like it's like a beach or like some sort of like oceanside photograph, and then there's all this space above it that's just like sky with clouds and stuff, and that's it. Like that's all that's the, you know, 80% of the frame is just sky and clouds, and then there's just the thing at the bottom. Yeah, I love this. I love this look that you do. I love that you were able to go with like the orange and yellow tones and stuff. You just so cool. Yeah, great image. So good. I love it.
It was fun to do. I like doing it. I like doing it. And plus the editing with it too was really fun. Like with Lightroom too, you can always change a little bit of the colors just to make it more intense. And so I know, like, I changed the red because I know the orange is actually a red light. I just changed it to an orange. And I know the ferns they're just like dead weeds, but they come out as orange. So I was just like, okay, this is perfect.
You can make this work. Yep.
I'm gonna make it work. And then I have the smoke in the background. I just, it was fun to shoot, and I was just like, this is gonna be really good. And I can't wait. I haven't posted it yet. I was waiting till after the show. I was posted on Monday.
Yeah.
There you go.
But Steph, I always post them before before we record. Steph always posts like right before she releases the episode. So it's like, I don't know. This has become, again, we talk about this. It was never planned. It just sort of happened that way. So it's kind of funny.
Our little like weird quirks now with the show.
We do have weird quirks. It just sort of like, it's so funny as like doing this, like this is our second season doing this together. And it is weird, like things that we did not decide we were going to do. It just sort of like happened a particular way. It's so interesting.
I was watching the other ones. I know Scott is like, you got to have a sip of coffee before you start. It's just like, oh, yep.
It was this silly thing that we realized was happening, and then it was like, well, now I can't stop doing it. Now I have, like, it was happening by accident, and now it's like, how do I undo what I've been doing now for the past 7 months? It's done. We're stuck with it. So, but, yeah.
It's funny.
As you sip your coffee now.
Yeah. So my smoke was literally 3 incense sticks. That I put to just give it a haze. It definitely did not feel like smoke. It just felt like haze. And my light was, I want to say a reading lamp. Yeah, definitely like one of those little book lamps that you stick on your book. And then that's the fluffy orange and yellow foliage that I got from the train shop. And then, I just shoved some sticks into styrofoam to make trees. And
I mean, I'm jealous of your foliage. I really like how even like in the foreground too and in the background, it just like you can tell it's autumn, and like it's just soft. It's still gritty, but it's still like a soft. What would your F stop on it?
F stop for this, I want to say F2. 2 even.
Yeah, you can see it because it's such a shallow, but the character's still highlighted and everything, and the light's just so nice and it's natural. It's almost like it's like early morning in a way.
Like it's coming up, the sun's coming up over on the side.
I mean, I like this one, and I like the other ones too. I saw the ones you posted, and I was just like, oh, these are good.
It was fun. It was super fun, and it was truly a cool thing getting to photograph Legos again, because I did it, whatever that was, several months ago, and I was like, this is fun, I'm going to do this more. And then in typical Scott fashion, I did not do it more. I was like, I'm going to shoot more Legos. I'm going to shoot Legos all the time. And then you were coming on. I'm like, oh, thank God, I'm going to shoot Legos again. I really have to do it because it is fun. It is interesting, and I'd love to get better at it. I would love to get comfortable with them. I'd love to get comfortable with the scale, like even like messing around with when I did the last Lego shoot, because was it Sabrina?
You were Sabrina.
She doesn't tend to disconnect limbs and stuff like that. So this is the first time I really played with that. So like I actually did pop his left arm out, so it was out kind of like holding it up to the light, which was fun because I had never done that before. So it was kind of neat to have an opportunity to try it out, because I know that, again, that's something you do, and I wanted him to, have a little more articulation. So I pulled his arm off and kind of stuck it in there at an angle, and it was fun. It was fun to try that. And it makes me, again, I want to try it more. I want to play with that idea. But yeah, it was fun. I, again, loved your work for so long. It was such a cool chance to do some fun little troopers out in the field. So,
and you used the OG clone troopers too, the old ones. I was like, oh, you used those.
Yeah, these are from sets from, I want to say, the early 2000s. Like, yeah, that's the. I forget what the set was.
Yeah, it was. I think it was. I know one of them, because I remember me and my friends used to compete on who would get the most out of them.
Oh gosh,
the clone trooper build packs. Remember them?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Or I was like, we used to buy like 2 of them in bulk every time I go to the store.
Absolutely.
ridiculous. But because they were so cheap, they were
Yeah.
like $20.
Exactly.
You just get 4 figures and like
Build
a
an
little
army.
built. Exactly. It was
know.
great.
It's funny, the battle droid head, the battle droids in general that I was using, like they're the ones from the Naboo Qui-Gon set with the little like so these were definitely like, because I haven't bought, I'm like questioning myself, I haven't bought Clone Trooper any Lego set with Clone Troopers since probably 2006, 2005. So like these are like, they go back. I've gotten other Lego sets, but not with Clone Troopers. So yeah, these are some pretty these are some old school Lego dudes. So
I mean, it's good to go back. I mean, my friend of mine's trying to collect them now too, and it's like he's trying to build up his army, and he's going on eBay to find a whole bunch of them, like selling. Yeah,
and people are selling them for just astronomical
amounts of money.
I don't even.
I had no idea. I didn't realize that Legos held their value until I want to say it was the beginning of COVID. The whole lockdown, I started going through all my old Legos because I was trying to organize them, and I was rebuilding them just for fun because we were stuck inside and didn't know what to do. So we were just building Legos and being silly. My mom came and stayed with us for a while she was getting some treatment, and so we were just like, my wife, me, my mom, we would just build Lego sets. And for fun, I started looking to see if I could add on to some of the Lord of the Rings sets that I had, because I had like a Helm's Deep, and I had like these like pretty big sets, and I saw that there were additions that you could put onto them. So I went on eBay just to see, because I was curious, and I immediately closed I was like, nope, I am not messing around with this. Like it was insane. It was ridiculous. Crazy. I was like, there was a set, no joke. It came with, it was maybe like this big. And it came with like 2 minifigs, and it was an add-on to like Helm's Deep. They were selling it for like $170 for this. I'm like, this is ridiculous. That's absurd. I'd sooner just go buy new things, like new Legos. Like I could not believe it. I had no idea that Legos held any sort of collectability. I thought they were just, you take them out of the box, you build them, cool. I didn't realize there was this world out there of people who go digging around on eBay for them.
They do, and like it's even worse because once Lego stops making them, the value is even higher. So like same thing. I tried to buy the Lego gunships. I go on Amazon. They're like $600 now. I can't even buy them. And I'm like, you just came out 5 years ago. How can you be $600?
It's ridiculous.
Like, it's just,
ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy. So you have to like go on some other websites, maybe Bricklink sells some stuff. eBay, of course, but even the whole custom like with the capes and everything, there's a whole other world like that, and it gets expensive too. It's just I have the budget for those things.
Yeah, I know. I agree. I totally feel that.
Yeah.
Budgets are crazy. I didn't go with Star Wars on mine, so this is gonna be a surprise. So let's see.
I love it. I saw it. I'm not gonna lie. I saw it this morning. I'm so excited.
I love it.
I love this.
This is so cool.
The contrast here, ridiculous. It is so intense. You've got your super bright spots, your super dark spots. I love this, like the explosion around him and the debris. Oh my gosh.
It's great. I mean, this literally is a time. I mean, it's reminds me of like what misadventures I did on Minecraft. Exactly. just all that stuff. Just blowing myself up with TNT, just trying to find diamond. It's just this is awesome. I love it. It's great.
My son's obsessed, and so he was on his iPad, and he has a bunch of Minecraft Legos. He has a bunch of the sets that we get him, and we build them. And they sit on a shelf because it's just like he's not going to play with them. And I was like, what do I have that I can use that'll have a lot of grit and stuff in the air? That stuff's going to be happening. And it's basically it's a big war zone in Minecraft because they have all the nighttime stuff happening. And like, I was thinking, oh, this will work. So I had to hold him up. He's actually on twigs. I like took him out with Photoshop and everything like that because I was like, how am I gonna do this? And he must have fell over 1,000 times, and I still didn't get what I wanted really, because I wanted like creepers and skeletons and stuff around him, like it like looked like he was just like plowing through all the bad guys. I couldn't get them all to stay up, and I was telling Scott, I'm like, I have to do this again. I can't do it the right way.
I love the direction it went in though.
Yeah, it looks good the way you got it as well. I mean, it's like what Scott said, the lights, the darks, and like you even got the dust in the air and everything. It looks great. I love it. I mean, both of yours did really well. You're incredible.
I'm happy you like it. Again, I am so happy when I still, there's this sick part of my brain that wants to have a guest go, didn't really love your photo of mine. Like I know it's demented. Like, but it's like, this is part of me that just one time wants to have somebody on here, and I will be laughing. I will definitely spit coffee out of my nose, and I will have to get off frame for a second because I will be laughing so hard. Like, I will be honest, like, you can't hurt my feelings. My feelings are like, I don't know what's wrong with them, but like, it's not, you can't do it. But it's like, there's this part of me that wants somebody to just say like the most awful things about my photo, and just, I'll be in hysterics. But I am happy you actually did appreciate it.
Yeah, like, again, good. It's great. The lighting, you got the lighting right, especially with like your soft focus and everything. And then, you know, with Stephanie's, with the hard contrast with the black and white and everything, and the dust, it's just perfect.
Amazing.
You guys did really well, yeah.
Ryan, we surpassed an hour so aggressively, and I'm so happy we did, because you are so much fun to talk to. I love that we're ending on a super dramatic photo here. You obviously, your handle is up here, but do you want to shout out your professional handle real quick?
Yeah,
or anything like that, your Facebooks and stuff?
So like my professional handle, it is on Tiermir's page. It's Tiermir and then just IRL, so in real life. So kind of like that little thing. And so, you know, I'm working as a photographer now, out of college, and it's just, that's the professional page, the portfolio page. So if you want to refer to that one as the portfolio page, and the toy photography page, that's perfectly fine.
Absolutely.
And my website's up there as well. If you have any questions or you want to message me about how stuff works or photographs, I'll be more than happy to answer. I love answering questions. I love asking, you know, when people ask me questions about how'd you do this photo, like, you know, I'm trying to do more BTS behind the scenes stuff with like Instagram. I know Stephanie and I talked about it a little bit, but I really, you know, I love what we do. I love the craft. I love the community. It's great. You know, we're all creative people, and we're all just doing our own thing, and it's great.
Absolutely. Yeah. Ryan, truly a pleasure. Ridiculously talented, and I say it again, for those of you who do not follow his page, please follow it. It is legendary. Yeah, seriously, thank you for being on here. So we appreciate
Thank you for having me. I mean, it was great. I love this. It was awesome.
Ready? Hold on.
Nobody panic. Oh my gosh, Steph is...
Well, y'all, thank you for listening to another wonderful episode of the combined SBN F-Stop Rebel podcast. Truly a pleasure. I hope you enjoyed everything. Remember, please do not grow up. It's a waste of time. I am Scott, F-Stop Rebel, and there's obviously Steff.
Yep, I'm still here, and you can find me at Slag My Thrilla or the SBN. You'll see all the credits on the end, but I always want to say, just guys, stay awesome and keep it up.